Yes, Ed turned out to not be gracious. He did some very bad things, and then when he did some very bad things, it meant that Discovery Channel used to work with us.
Nobody expected it to happen. One day, Edd China was working in the garage, wearing his famous orange gloves and fixing cars with his usual smile. The next day, he was gone from Wheeler Dealers. There was no goodbye on TV, no final joke with his partner Mike Brewer. Millions of fans were left wondering what happened to their favorite car mechanic. Some people think the TV bosses cut the budget and ruined the show. Others believe there was a big fight behind the scenes. The truth is more complicated, and it involves money, creative differences, and two friends who wanted different things from their popular car show. The beginning of something special. Back in 2003, before YouTube became popular, two very different British men started a car show that would change television forever. Mike Brewer was a natural salesman who could find cheap cars anywhere and make deals with anyone. Edd China was tall, calm, and always wore bright orange gloves. He could take any broken car and make it run like new again. What made Wheeler Dealers different from other car shows was how Ed explained everything. He would take his time showing viewers exactly how to fix problems. He would remove wheels, label every bolt, and talk people through each step in simple words that anyone could understand. While Mike focused on buying cheap cars and selling them for profit, Ed taught a whole generation that fixing cars wasn't impossible. A broken brake or blown engine wasn't the end of the world. It was just a weekend project waiting to happen. The combination worked perfectly. Mike's energy and Ed's knowledge created something special. Viewers loved watching them work together. Letters poured in from all over the world, from Brazil to the Middle East. People wanted longer episodes with more detailed repairs. By the 5th season, the show was playing in over 100 countries. By the 9th season, they had moved the entire production to sunny California to reach American audiences. In California, they worked on bigger, more exciting cars. Ford Mustangs, DeLoreans, and classic Camaros filled their new workshop. The show became more popular than ever, but success came with new challenges. Tighter filming schedules, sponsorship deals, and contract requirements they had never dealt with before started putting pressure on everyone involved. For a while, everything seemed perfect. The cars kept getting better, the audience kept growing, and the money kept flowing. But behind the scenes, small problems were starting to appear that would eventually tear the partnership apart. California dreams and hidden problems. When the Wheeler Dealers team moved to California, everything got bigger. The workshop was huge, with shiny car lifts and expensive tools everywhere. Classic American muscle cars sat in every corner waiting to be restored. The parts budget seemed endless, and the new TV network, Velocity, promised great things. But bigger also meant more complicated. Velocity wanted faster episodes and more shows in less time. The camera crews started working before sunrise, and cars had to be finished and sold by dinner time. The pace was exhausting, with takeout food boxes stacking up faster than the finished car projects. At first, the new setup looked like a dream come true. The workshop had toolboxes taller than most people, and every piece of equipment a mechanic could want. However, the dream came with strict rules. TV producers walked around with stopwatches and scripts, timing everything. A brake repair that used to take 10 minutes of screen time was now cut down to 30 seconds. A complete engine rebuild became just 5 quick shots with voiceover narration. Ed felt these changes first and most deeply. He loved teaching people about cars. Every cut to his repair segments felt like someone was ripping pages out of his instruction manual. He asked the producers for more repair time in each episode. He even begged them to let him show the complete process. Mike tried to help both sides, shaking hands with sponsors and checking on Ed, but the gap between what Ed wanted and what the network demanded kept growing. They still smiled and joked on camera, but between takes, the tension was obvious. Fans started noticing too. Online discussion boards lit up with complaints. Why was everything so rushed? Where were the detailed explanations that helped people fix their own cars? Viewers from around the world missed the step-by-step instructions that let them follow along at home. The ratings stayed strong, but the heart of the show was slowly disappearing. Most nights, Edd stayed late in the workshop, filming extra close-up shots and detailed explanations, hoping the editors would include them in the final show. Many of these clips never made it to television. He watched his careful lessons end up on the cutting room floor, unused and unwanted. The pressure kept building like steam in a kettle. Everyone could feel that something was going to explode soon. The question wasn't if, but when. The video that changed everything. On March 21, 2017, Edd China uploaded a 6-minute video to his YouTube channel that shocked the car world. The title was simple and direct: "I'm leaving Wheeler Dealers." There were no jokes, no fancy graphics, just Edd sitting at a plain desk wearing his orange gloves, looking straight into the camera. He spoke slowly and clearly, choosing every word carefully. The new bosses, he explained, wanted to cut the repair scenes even shorter. They called it making the show more efficient. Edd's response was simple but powerful. A car show without real repairs isn't a car show at all. So he decided to leave. Edd thanked the fans who had supported the show for years. He praised Mike as a friend and partner. He even wished the TV network success in the future. But, between his polite words, viewers could hear his frustration. When he said, "It's not the direction I can support," everyone understood what he really meant. The show was losing its soul for the sake of speed and profits. Within an hour of the video going live, the comments section exploded. People shared the video on forums, Facebook groups, and car blogs. By lunchtime, the story was on automotive news websites. By dinner, it was trending on Twitter. People quoted his words, shared screenshots, and searched for hidden clues about what had really happened. Some fans cheered Edd for standing up for his beliefs and protecting the educational value of the show. Others questioned why Mike hadn't fought harder to keep Edd on the team. The view counter kept climbing. 1 million, 2 million, 5 million views. Reporters called both Edd and Mike for official statements. The TV network issued a short corporate response saying the show would remain strong. It sounded weak and unconvincing. Edd ended his video with a tight smile and a promise. "Keep making, keep fixing, and I'll see you soon." He waved goodbye, the screen went black, and the internet erupted with theories about what would happen next. Fans felt like they finally understood the truth, but the shock was just the beginning. A storm was coming, and it would hit Mike Brewer hardest of all. The backlash. Against Mike, the angry reaction hit Mike Brewer like a brick through a car windshield. Within hours of Edd's video, furious comments appeared on every social media platform. Some fans called Mike a sellout, saying he had let the TV network destroy the show's soul. Others wrote much worse things, including dark threats that had nothing to do with cars or television. Mike tried to calm the situation by tweeting that he loved Edd like a brother and had begged the network executives to keep the long repair segments in the Essen. How? It didn't help. The flood of anger kept growing. Soon, the hatred spilled over from the internet into real life. Mike's email inbox filled with hate mail. One message warned that someone would visit his house. Another message brought his teenage daughter into the controversy, which crossed every line of decency. Frightened for his family's safety, Mike contacted the police, who opened an investigation file and advised him to be very careful. He later said the stress and threats nearly destroyed him emotionally. Even Edd stepped in, posting online that no one should threaten Mike and asking people to calm down. But on the internet, a small spark can start a huge fire, and this one was burning out of control. The controversy affected the show's business too. Sponsors got nervous about being associated with the drama. A tire company pulled a planned advertisement. The TV network issued a longer press statement saying Wheeler Dealers would evolve while staying true to its original spirit. They announced that Ant Anstead, a mechanic known for his charming personality and quick work, would replace Edd. Some viewers were excited to see fresh talent join the show. Others shouted irreplaceable and swore they would never watch Wheeler Dealers again. Even in all the noise and anger, many fans kept hoping that Mike and Edd might somehow work things out. For now, though, the split seemed permanent and painful for everyone involved. While Mike prepared for his first episode without his longtime partner, the newcomer Ant was about to discover just how intense the spotlight of television could be. Ant Anstead steps in. When the dust settled from the controversy, the cameras kept rolling with a new face in the workshop. Ant Anstead, a former police officer who had become a skilled car builder, stepped into Ed's role wearing a grin almost as wide as Ed's reach. He was quick with jokes and even quicker with power tools. The TV network hoped his energy and charm would win back the hearts of disappointed fans. The first episode, featuring Ant, opened with a bright blue Mustang. He took it apart efficiently, swapped the transmission in record time, and sprayed paint like he was decorating a cake. Viewers who wanted pure action and fast results loved it. But the longtime fans, the ones who took notes and paused the video to study techniques, frowned and asked questions in the comments. Where's the slow walkthrough, they wondered. How did he align that clutch properly? The step-by-step teaching that had made Wheeler Dealers famous was still being cut short, and no amount of fresh charm could hide those missing educational moments. Ant tried to bridge the gap between what fans wanted and what the network demanded. Between official filming sessions, he recorded extra clips breaking down complicated jobs, then pushed to get them uploaded online. A few made it to YouTube, but most stayed on hard drives, never seen by the public. The show's ratings stayed steady, proving it could survive without Ed, but the fan base split into two camps. One group was happy with fast thrills and entertaining builds. The other group felt like the show's pulse had stopped beating. Mike did his best to guide the new partnership, talking up Ant's skills, teasing bigger projects, and promising more depth in future episodes. Yet every social media post carried the same shadow comment: "Bring back Ed." Ant joked that he was both the most loved and most hated mechanic on television. Off camera, the pressure felt like carrying a heavy engine block on a folding workbench. Still, cars kept rolling into the workshop and rolling out again, fully restored and profitable. They worked on a Datsun 240Z, a dusty Ferrari, even a military Humvee, all bought cheap and sold for profit on screen. The numbers proved the show could survive and even thrive without its original mechanic. But the question remained, could it ever feel the same? While Mike and Ant chased their next profitable deal, Ed had quietly disappeared from the spotlight, retreating to a small workshop in the English countryside. Ed's quiet years and YouTube return. For 4 long years after leaving Wheeler Dealers, Edd China mostly stayed out of the public eye. The tall man in orange gloves appeared only at car shows and charity events, always polite but rarely giving interviews. Fans kept asking the same question everywhere he went. Where did you go? What are you doing now? In 2021, they finally got their answer. Ed launched a brand new YouTube series called Edd China's Workshop Diaries. The first episode appeared on a Friday evening with no fancy advertising or big announcements. There were no flashy graphics or TV-style production values, just Ed, a kettle boiling in the background, and a tired Range Rover waiting to be rescued. He greeted viewers like old friends returning after a long trip, rolled up his sleeves, and got to work. There were no rushed montages or quick cuts here. Every bolt came off in real time. Every worn seal got a clear close-up shot. Ed even paused to draw simple diagrams on a whiteboard when a repair needed extra explanation. It felt like the early days of Wheeler Dealers, only slower, deeper, and completely under Ed's control. The projects quickly grew more interesting and unusual. One week, he rebuilt a 1960s electric milk delivery truck and upgraded it with a modern electric motor. The next week, he brought back to life the record-breaking motorized sofa that had once raced through London streets as a publicity stunt. Viewers absolutely loved it. The comments filled with grateful messages. "I can finally see the whole job again," and "This is what we've been missing." By the 10th upload, Ed's channel had passed 500,000 subscribers. The show was funded through YouTube advertising revenue, Patreon supporters, and occasional sales of Big Hands, Small Garage t-shirts. Without network executives giving orders, Ed could set his own pace. Some months he posted every Friday like clockwork. Other times he took breaks to hunt for rare parts or speak at engineering conferences. Nobody complained because they knew the next video would arrive when the project was truly ready. Companies approached Ed about sponsorship deals, but he only accepted products he actually used in his own workshop. "If it's not in my toolbox, it's not in the show," he joked. This approach kept his content honest and trustworthy, exactly what his fans had always valued most. Wheeler Dealers continues to evolve, Meanwhile, back on Wheeler Dealers, changes kept happening. Ant Ansted's time on the show ended in 2020 when he moved back to the UK for family reasons. The network found another replacement, Mark Elvis Priestley, a former McLaren Formula One mechanic with sharp skills and a relaxed sense of humor. The show filmed its 2021 season in a new British workshop, returning to its roots in some ways. Ratings held steady with Elvis as the new mechanic, proving the show's format was strong enough to survive multiple cast changes. Yet fans still compared every slow-motion welding shot to Edd's detailed walkthroughs from the early days. The educational element that had made Wheeler Dealers special was still missing, even with talented new mechanics joining the team. By 2024, both paths seemed well established. Edd was teaching at his own pace in his YouTube workshop, building a loyal audience who appreciated depth and detail. Mike was steering a lighter, faster TV show that focused more on entertainment than education. Both approaches had their audiences, and both men seemed content with their choices. But whispers of a possible reunion kept floating through online forums and fan discussions. When asked about it, Mike would say, "Never say never." Edd would nod and smile, then change the subject to whatever project he was working on. With two successful but separate shows thriving, only one question remained unanswered. Would either man ever feel the need to work together again, or were they happier driving on different roads forever? Hints of reconciliation. By 2023, the separate paths seemed permanent, but the internet loves unexpected twists. Early that year, a small automotive blog published one intriguing sentence that set fans buzzing with excitement. Sources suggest Edd China may guest star in a future Wheeler Dealers special. No names were mentioned, no dates were given, just enough information to light up pages of online debate and speculation. Reddit discussion threads stretched for miles. Some fans swore they had spotted Edd having lunch with a Motor Trend producer at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. Others claimed Mike and Edd were quietly planning a charity build project to celebrate the show's upcoming 25th anniversary. Neither man confirmed or denied these rumors, which only fueled more speculation. When asked during a podcast interview, Mike laughed and said, "Never say never, my phone still works." A month later, during a live stream from his workshop, someone asked Edd, "Would you ever go back to Wheeler Dealers?" He paused, grinned, and replied, "Only if we can show every nut and bolt." It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a definite no either. For hopeful fans, that was more than enough to keep their dreams alive. Fresh rumors kept appearing regularly. One story claimed the BBC wanted both hosts for a new electric vehicle conversion series. Another suggested Discovery Channel had pitched a reunion road trip. 10 classic cars, 10 countries, one final handshake between old partners. Most of these tips fizzled out when dates slipped or budgets fell through, but the conversations never completely died. Meanwhile, small signs hinted that the personal gap between the two men was slowly closing. At the 2024 NEC Classic Motor Show, Mike and Edd spoke on the same stage for the first time in 7 years. They appeared on different panels on the same day, but they shared a brief hello backstage. Photographers caught them smiling together, and Twitter immediately exploded with excitement and speculation. A month later, Mike sent Edd a public birthday tweet. "Have a great one, mate. Hope to share a brew soon." Edd liked the post and replied with a thumbs-up emoji. These were simple gestures, but for longtime fans who had watched their partnership grow and then break apart, they felt like fresh oil on a rusty hinge that might start moving again. The current situation. Away from reunion speculation, both men stayed busy with their individual projects. Edd tested a hydrogen-powered taxi, hinting that alternative fuel technology might be his next deep-dive topic. Mike finished filming Wheeler Dealers' 20th season and teased the biggest profit margin we've ever achieved on one of their car flips. Yet every interview with either man ended with the same final question from reporters and fans. Will you two ever team up again? Each man answered with a shrug and a mysterious smile, letting the uncertainty do the heavy lifting. They clearly enjoyed keeping people guessing. For viewers and fans, that open door became its own kind of fuel for imagination and hope. As long as neither man said never, the dream of a reunion stayed alive. Online forums and comment sections continued spinning endless theories about secret meetings, planned projects, and possible reconciliation scenarios. Whether a reunion happens next year, next decade, or never at all, one thing became clear to everyone watching this long-running drama. The story of Edd China and Mike Brewer wasn't finished yet. It was simply idling with the engine warm, waiting for the right moment and the next green light. The bigger picture. Across more than 20 years, one seemingly simple show about buying and fixing old cars managed to highlight a much bigger debate. How much reality can you cut from a reality show before its heart stops beating? When Wheeler Dealers began, every scraped knuckle and seized bolt felt genuine because nothing was hidden behind slick editing or corporate sponsorship demands. Viewers learned alongside Ed and Mike, tried the same techniques at home, often failed, and made the eventual victories feel even sweeter. The split in 2017 proved that maintaining authenticity comes at a real cost. Ed chose his principles over a steady television job, trading big ratings and reliable income for complete creative control. Mike stayed with the show, shouldering the responsibility of keeping dozens of crew members employed and maintaining a global entertainment brand. Both choices required courage. Both choices cost them sleep and stress. Their different paths demonstrate two truths that can exist at the same time. Television is a team sport built on compromise, and pure craftsmanship thrives best when no one is timing the creative process. What surprised many industry observers was how the audience reacted to the split. Instead of abandoning both versions, fans followed both roads. Some craved quick car flips and entertaining banter with Mike and his new partners. Others soaked up hour-long deep dives into mechanical problems with Ed's detailed YouTube tutorials. In a world flooded with content options, the lesson became clear. Give people genuine passion and expertise, and they will find you regardless of the platform or format. The Wheeler Dealers story also revealed something important about modern media consumption. Audiences are sophisticated enough to support different approaches to the same basic concept. They don't need to choose just one version of something they love. They can appreciate fast-paced television entertainment and slow-burn educational content simultaneously, depending on their mood and needs at any given moment. Looking forward. So, will the famous handshake between Ed and Mike ever return to television screens? Maybe. History suggests that money talks loudly in the entertainment business, but trust and mutual respect talk even louder. If the day ever comes when both men feel the balance is right, with adequate screen time for every nut and bolt, and proper respect for budget requirements and production schedules, those bright workshop lights could definitely click on again. Until then, two different versions of the same basic dream continue rolling forward down parallel roads. One version chases profitable entertainment in primetime television slots. The other pursues educational perfection one long video at a time on YouTube. Both approaches have found their audiences and achieved success on their own terms. The Wheeler Dealers saga leaves viewers with an interesting final question to consider. Which path would you choose to follow? Do you prefer speedy car flips with entertaining commentary, detailed repair guides that teach real skills, or some rare fusion of both approaches? Because the next twist in this ongoing story might actually depend on what audiences decide to watch and support most enthusiastically. From a small London garage to professional studios around the world, Edd China and Mike Brewer proved that dusty old metal can spark big dreams and create lasting entertainment. Their eventual split demonstrated that passion and profit don't always travel in the same lane comfortably. Yet both roads they chose have led to great stories worth following. One story is told through quick television cuts and entertaining dialogue. The other unfolds through long online lessons and detailed explanations. Maybe those roads will cross again someday. Maybe both men are happier working apart. In the end, the answer might come down to which path their fans cheer for most enthusiastically. The choice, as always, belongs to the people who tune in, subscribe, and keep watching whatever comes next in this continuing automotive adventure.